it's a filter that I got earlier on. Okay, look, can you hear me okay? It's a Human filter. I don't know how to turn it off. My kittens were playing with my computer at one point, and now I can't figure out how to get this off. My assistant's working on, see if she can look it up, but don't worry, I'm prepared to go forward with the trial. I'm here live, the sound's working okay, but I'm definitely not a Human. I swear, I am not a Human. I don't even know any Humans personally. I'm so embarrassed.
Recorded in Round Rock, Texas, in front of a live teleconferenced audience, it's the What's Update with Xander IMDb.
Season 2.5, staying alive, baby.
Hey, welcome to the What's Update. I'm Xander IMDb. Let's get started. We're sad to say that Captain Sir Tom Moore, the former British Army officer who captured our hearts by walking laps for charity, has died at the age of 100. The British centenarian was knighted last year by Queen Elizabeth II for raising £45 million for Britain's National Health Service by walking laps around his garden with the aid of a walker during the nationwide coronavirus lockdown. The Queen was one of the first to publicly mourn Moore's death. Godspeed, Captain Tom. We'll miss you.
Yeah.
Human-made noise from ships, seismic surveys, air guns, pile drivers, dynamite fishing, drilling platforms, speedboats, and even surfing is making the ocean an unbearably noisy place for marine life. According to a review in the journal Science, anthropogenic noise is drowning out the natural soundscapes. And, in the case of baby clownfish, who use the natural sounds of the reefs to find their way home, the noise can even doom them to wander the seas without direction. Up next on Disney Plus, Blinding Nemo. Yep, this is gonna be a fun episode. A section of Highway 1 near Big Sur collapsed after heavy rains caused a debris flow made of water, boulders, trees, and mud, in an area already weakened by the devastating Dolan fire. The collapse left a 150-foot wide V-shaped gash leading down to the ocean. Big Sur? More like, no sir, am I right? Am I right or am I right or am I right?
You're not right.
Yeah, whatever. Even with a big hole in it, it's still faster than taking I-35 through downtown Austin, so I can't complain. A man in the Netherlands has fathered hundreds of children. The man, Jonathan Jacob Meyer, a Dutch musician, is a serial sperm donor, giggity, both at fertility clinics and through private sperm donations. Due to the poorly regulated donation system, this means that in a country of just over 17 million people, several hundred of those are unknowingly half-siblings. I guess, in addition to accordions and barrel organs, the Dutch can look forward to a lot of banjo music in the hash bars. Jeff Bezos will soon be stepping down as the CEO of Amazon, moving to the position of executive chairman while the top spot is passed off. He stated that the role of CEO was all-encompassing, leaving little time for other things. But now, with his newfound free time, he can focus on his more personal project of finally defeating Superman. Now, speaking of questionable retail practices, a congressional investigation found that ingredients in many baby foods, including some organic options, are contaminated with heavy metals like arsenic, lead, and cadmium at far higher levels than those allowed in products like bottled water. And that was just for the companies that even bothered to comply with the investigation. Walmart, which sells Parents' Choice and Parents' Choice organic products, Sprout Organic Foods, and Campbell Soup Company, maker of Plum Organics baby foods, refused to even provide the investigators with the requested information. Now, if you're ever worried about the mystery meat in school lunches, just stop and think for a moment about what Walmart's putting in your baby.
Ooh.
After the Trump-inspired insurrection of January 6th, what we're calling Don Ghazi, Canada, our sensible neighbors to the north, have declared the Proud Boys a terrorist group. This designation will allow bank accounts linked to the group to be frozen and their assets seized, and also expands police investigative powers. This lumps them in with several other far-right or neo-Nazi organizations, as well as groups affiliated with the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. Or, as Mango Mussolini would call them, patriots. Hashtag Don Ghazi. Ex-President Trump has resigned from the entertainment union SAG-AFTRA. Trump sent a letter giving his resignation, just as the union was voting to bar him for life due to his role in the January 6th Capitol attack. In response, the union released a statement that simply said, "Thank you." In the description, you'll find a guide to local burn wards and several SoundCloud links to air horns. According to reporters in the Senate chambers, several senators, including Florida's Rick Scott, Mississippi's Cindy Hyde-Smith, and Missouri's Josh Hawley, refused to pay attention during the impeachment hearings. Kentucky's Rand Paul wouldn't even look up at the proceedings and spent his time doodling rather than watching the trial evidence. I guess you could say the Senate trial was divided into those who choose to see and those who prefer to not see. President Biden said recently that he would bar ex-President Trump from receiving intelligence briefings because Trump could not be trusted due to his erratic behavior even before the January 6th attack on the Capitol. This is the first time a former president will be left out of the briefings, which are still offered on a regular basis to Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama. Biden said, "Now what value is giving him an intelligence briefing? What impact does he have at all, other than the fact that he might slip and say something?" Find out this and more on the new Russian reality show, Porn Star Pillow Talk. While on the subject of dirty birds, Hustler magazine publisher and free speech pioneer Larry Flynt died recently. Flynt was a 9th grade dropout, a third-class pornographer, and a first-rate advocate for the First Amendment. In 1978, Flynt was shot outside the Lawrenceville, Georgia courthouse, where he was on trial for an obscenity charge, and spent more than half of his life in a gold-plated wheelchair. The sniper was a white supremacist who objected to Hustler's portrayal of interracial couples. We'd like to read you more from his obituary, but unfortunately, for some reason, those pages were stuck together.
Ew.
Very fun episode. Amid the flurry of appointments for President Biden's new cabinet, former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg was confirmed as the new U.S. Transportation Secretary.
Woo!
Buttigieg is the first openly gay cabinet member in a presidential administration. Now, there have probably been other same-sex oriented heads of the executive departments, but they never officially came out of the cabinet. Speaking of which, have your burger options become too bland, too boring, too straight? Well then, have we found something for you? New burger chain Gay Burger, a virtual kitchen that delivers via Postmates, DoorDash, and Uber Eats, opened recently for delivery in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York City. Gay Burger is the creation of comedian, author, recording artist, and out-and-proud gay figure Elijah Daniel, aka Lil Fag, and 100% of the proceeds are being donated to support the Los Angeles LBGT Center for Homeless Youth. Why eat a straight burger when you can order from Gay Burger and munch the juicy meat between their hot buns? Or, if that's not your end of the rainbow, you can order their chicken sandwich called I Like Chicks. Hackers recently tried to poison the water supply of Oldsmar, Florida, a small city near Tampa Bay. By remotely accessing the water treatment plant, the hackers changed the amounts of sodium hydroxide, the main ingredient in drain cleaner, from 100 parts per million to 11,100 parts per million. Highly dangerous levels. The attack was caught before it could cause harm, but it showed that utilities need to seriously address the vulnerability of remotely accessible systems. Oh my, Mr. Florida guy, give your daughters bottled water since yours is full of lye. Some hackers got into your water supply. If you drink it, you could possibly die. Thank you. Stick around, we'll be right back. Welcome back. The yellow rose of Texas is the only girl I love. Her eyes are even bluer than Texas skies above. Her heart's as big as Texas, and wherever I may go, I'll remember her forever because I love her so. The stars at night are big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas, the prairie sky is wide and high. Deep in the heart of Texas, the sage in bloom is like perfume. Deep in the heart of Texas, reminds me of the one I love. Deep in the heart of Texas. Hook 'em. Woo! Okay, now, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but I am a Texan. Yes, I know! How could this be?
No.
A tall, good-looking, smart, funny, and rugged man like myself. A proud, natural-born Texican? Go on. But I assure you, it is absolutely true. Full disclosure, I love Texas. It is my home. It's in my heart. It's in my very soul. It is who I am. Now, this may come as a bit of a shock, but Texans are really proud of their state. We put its flag on everything, and we put the state's shape on even more things. You could buy Texas-shaped cornbread pans and Texas-shaped steaks. Put very simply, Texans love Texas more than just about anything else. So, here's the thing. Texas, it's not for everyone. You have to be a special kind of badass to survive here. Our weather is oppressive, our flora and fauna are actively trying to kill you, and we're not Southern, we're not Western, we are Texans. All rules that apply to every place else simply just don't apply here. Now, I will admit right now that there are many things about my beloved state that cause me great sadness and distress. The fact that Canadian-born Raphael Ted is definitely not a Texan Cruz, and John Cornyn keep getting elected to represent us in the Senate is horrifying. Greg Abbott can suck a big fat bag of... baguettes. Louis Gohmert is a complete waste of enzymes, and every jackass that substitutes the cannon on the Battle of Gonzales come-and-take-it flag for an AR-15 is a pathetic little bitch.
Yep.
But we have provided some of the greatest thinkers, artists, and history makers to the world. Just a short list of notable Texans. LBJ and Dwight Eisenhower, Texans. Dan Rather, Bob Schieffer, Sam Donaldson, and Linda Ellerby, born in Texas. Wes Anderson, Mike Judge, Robert Rodriguez, Richard Linklater, Matt Stone, Carol Burnett, Jamie Foxx, Steve Martin, Matthew McConaughey, Bill Paxton, Debbie Reynolds, Gene Roddenberry, transcendent character actor Stephen Tobolowsky, that's right kids, Neil knows Ned the Head Ryerson, and countless other amazing actors and performers came into the world in the great state of Texas. Beyonce, Chris Christopherson, Buddy Holly, Roy Orbison, all the guys from ZZ Top, and Snoop Dogg's guru, the indomitable legend Willie Nelson, are Texans as well. I'm told there are many sports ball legends of the highest order that are Texans, but I don't know enough about sports to give them the credit they deserve. There's no category of human achievement that doesn't include at least one representative from the Lone Star State. But Xander, I hear you asking in your West Coast whine, what is the deal with all this Texas stuff? Well, Valley douche, I'll tell you. A few weeks back, a think piece was published on the Business Insider website by some candy ass complaining about how awful it was to move from San Diego to Austin. The candy ass in question, self-described semiconductor industry sales executive Brett Alder, wasted several lines of column space bitching about his move from California to Texas. I don't have time to unpack all the ways that his analysis is worthless, pusillanimous garbage, but I feel honor-bound to address some of the highlights. First, let's make it clear that Brett moved his family from a 2,000 square foot home in San Diego to a 4,000 square foot home in Austin with, quote, 10,000 square feet of grass. Just for context, San Diego is latitudinally 200 miles north of Austin. San Diego is in the same temperature range as Charleston, South Carolina. Both have an average high temperature in August between 77 and 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Austin is 3 degrees south of Tunisia. You know, where they filmed Tatooine for Star Wars. The average high temperature in Austin in August is 96 degrees without adding in 60 to 80% humidity. Keep this in mind, it's important. Among the myriad of complaints Brett had was the cost of energy and water. Let's, for a moment, ignore the point that the average annual pay for good jobs in Austin is $55,000 per year, and the same in San Diego is $79,000 per year. The cost of heating, cooling, and watering a 2,000 square foot versus a 4,000 square foot home in an area with a much larger yard and a 20 to 25 degree average ambient temperature difference is incomparable. Brett also added a much larger yard and apparently a half-court basketball area for his budget. So, how shall I put this? No shit, Sherlock! You doubled your housing space, and I'm assuming more than quadrupled your yard size. Of course it's gonna be a bit more spendy. That's on you. Maybe before you, quote, uproot your family and move across 4 states, do some frickin' research. Another one of his whiny complaints was the lack of diversity. Since many of you are not intimately aware with the particulars of Austin living, I'll let you know that the Bee Caves area that he moved his family to is not only well known for being ridiculously expensive, because it's where all the celebrities that move to Austin live, but it's also white AF. Had he wanted some diversity in his neighbors, may I suggest Southeast Austin? Though it is reasonable to assume that he may not have been able to find a 4,000 square foot home with a 10,000 square foot yard and a basketball half court off of East Riverside and Montopolis.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of his other big complaints was about the environment. It was too hot. It was too humid. There are too many murder bugs. The grass, the trees, and the air are trying to kill you. Yeah, Pumpkin, you're right. They are. Living in Texas is advanced citizenship. You know why we wear boots? Because the grass and the things living in it are trying to end and eat you.
Nah.
Side note here, I went to a comedy show a few years back at the Paramount Theater, where Chris D'Elia complained about having to buy denim shorts to deal with the heat in summer in Texas. He immediately lost the audience because we were all like, yeah, dipshit, the shorts keep you cool, and the denim is ass armor against everything trying to kill you. Let's also take a moment to talk about his moaning over our alleged rudeness. I don't even know where to start with this. Texans are some of the most decent people on the planet. We will give you the shirt off our backs, all the sweet tea in our fridge, and an extra helping of our barbecue because, well, we always make extra. Brett says, our friends from Tennessee also confirmed that Austin does not conform to the notion of Southern hospitality. Well, yeah, dickweed, we aren't Southern. The South is 300 miles north of here. A couple of hot takes. Quote, I kid you not, he says this. Aside from the fact that everything is private, where are you going to go anyway? I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but Texas is big. I mean, really big. You could fit all of the United Kingdom and add in Denmark just for grins, and you'd still have a bit of space left. If you live in Austin, it takes a minimum of 5 hours to drive to the next closest state. It's almost faster to drive to Mexico than it is to drive to Oklahoma. Besides, why would anybody want to go to Oklahoma anyway? But I digress a bit. He complains that his children were forced to call some of their teachers ma'am or sir. Expecting children to show respect to their elders? Huh, blasphemy! Elsa says there's a pressure to keep your house immaculate. So you're saying that being expected to take care of your home and not be a bunch of sketch butts and an eyesore to everyone in your neighborhood is too hard to manage? Also, traffic on I-35 is bad. Really? We didn't notice. Because I hear that driving the I-5 is such a breeze. Then, business networking by attending the local high school football games, it comes as a complete shock to this guy? I guess he never heard of Friday Night Lights. While we're on the subject of hanging out at a football game, Brett, Precious, the dad in the Don't Move to Austin t-shirt, was talking to you, jackass. And he wraps up his uninformed diatribe thusly. If you're moving to Austin, make sure it's because of the things that it offers. Downtown lifestyle, barbecue, football, live music, nice houses, and professional opportunity. And that you won't miss the things you're leaving behind. Good weather, public spaces, etc. Well, when you put it that way, Brett, I completely understand why you hated it in Austin. You like things that suck and dislike all things awesome. And one final point. You claim to have bumped into University of Texas, Hookem, Moody College of Communications professor and Academy Award winner Matthew McConaughey at your kid's flag football game. While you're bragging about your lame claim to fame, you conveniently ignore McConaughey's primary reason for his possible run for governor of Texas. Quote, "Don't be trying to turn here into why you left there." I will make it very simple and use small words so all non-Texans may easily understand this concept. People, stop trying to California or Texas! And if I might add, if you California or Austin, then they will Austin my Round Rock. And that will not do. We'll be right back.
Woo!
Welcome back, everybody. So, we'll start with our standard question. Who you, what do, and why?
Okay, that's 3 questions, but sure. I'm James Morrison, and that's the short answer about who I am. The next one was what I do.
Yes.
Well, let's see. For a living, I'm an actor, and I'm a playwright, and a filmmaker, and a father, and a husband, handyman. Let's see, what else? Chore doer, yogi. The list is endless. I mean, I could go on and on. What was the third part?
Range in your acting.
What was the third question?
Why do you do it?
Oh, why do I do it? Well, let's see. I think the main reason is why I do anything really is because it's fun. And if it's not fun, I don't do it.
Well, all right. Good explanation as any.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Why does anyone do anything? Sheer, absolute boredom.
That's right.
That make life a little bit more fun. Is there anything you're working on right now that you'd like to tell our audience about?
Well, first you can tell me, who is your audience exactly? Who am I speaking to?
We got a bit of a minor audience right now, but just people around.
Wait a minute. Does that mean few people or?
Me, the
You're building.
A few people.
You're building an audience. You're building a following. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus,
we all are.
Also, I'm trying to get some of the students from my radio, TV, film classes at my college into this, so people can learn it.
Oh, you mentioned your college. Yeah, where is it? Where are you again?
University of Texas at Austin.
In Austin.
Yes. Well, remote.
Great. Where? Oh, yeah, I love Austin. Well, let's see. Why do I do it? Is that where we left off?
What are you working on right now?
Oh, what am I working on?
Yes.
Well, it's pretty slow, as you know. We're all kind of remote. So I'm working from home. I've been doing a lot of writing.
All right.
I'm working on, learning some. Well, I'm taking Spanish lessons.
Hey, so am I.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I currently going into a Spanish 2 course at UT.
Oh, Spanish too. Oh, you're way ahead of me.
That's debatable.
Yeah. What else are you studying? What is your major? What is your interest?
Double majoring radio, TV, film, and journalism, and my interest is this.
This
Show.
this is your deal, huh?
Yes. And also,
Like vlogging.
I'm interviewing you, Mister.
Hey, come on now.
I already went through the interviewee trying to interview me with Jackie Cation. I ain't falling for this again.
You're not falling for it? Okay. I couldn't reel you in, huh? So what's isn't this about the time of the year that South by Southwest happens, or that's not during Sundance? Is it? That wouldn't be wise.
Usually is around March, but
March, okay, yeah.
doubtful it's gonna happen.
I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah, it's rather a
Yeah.
shame we can't do it this year.
Yeah, it's called shut down, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's an amazing town.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Over the course of your career, you've worked fairly steadily and gotten around all sorts of shows. So, what would you say has been the key to your amount of success?
Perseverance.
All right.
Not giving up, no matter how many times I'm told no.
Just a strong work ethic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I that's one thing aside from learning how to drive that my dad taught me.
So it's work ethic, stubbornness, and a driver's license.
Well, stubbornness, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who taught me that. I think I came here with that, but he did teach me a good work ethic. I started working when I was about 13, 14.
All right.
And didn't decide to be an actor until I was 19 or 20. But up until then, I worked, made my own way. Yeah, I always had money in my pocket because I had little jobs here and there while going to school and stuff.
So I'm guessing with that lifestyle, you're intimately familiar with the audition process.
I'm intimately familiar with the audition process, yes, much to my chagrin.
I think it's much to everybody's chagrin when you're getting into this.
In fact, I'm so intimately involved in it that I decided to my first feature film should be about the audition.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Okay, well that's one thing you need to put on your list.
Definitely. I'm in school currently, so not a lot of time available to me.
Hey, it's 90 of the best minutes you'll ever spend.
All right, I'll hold you to that.
Okay.
Where can I see it?
Well, we were streaming. We're working out a deal so that you can. In fact, which school are you in again? The University of which one?
University of Texas at Austin.
University of Texas at Austin. I'm not sure if that's one of the schools that has purchased the film or not. They might have it in their library. We've sold 150 maybe to universities around the country for use in their programs.
Right.
It's called Showing Up, and it's called Showing Up: A Conversation About the Audition, and it's about 60 of our most well-known working actors. You'll recognize all of them, talking about how they feel about the audition and what it means to them, and how they deal with it, different aspects of it, and And in fact, going back to perseverance, it really, that's what it boils down to, is just keep going back and keep going back, no matter how many times you're told no.
All
You
right.
know.
Work
Yeah, they
ethic
should have a
is-
class. In fact, they should have a class in that at your school. Perseverance 101.
I think that'd just be like repeatedly going to class like, you'll never do anything. You're not good. And then your answer just always has to be, oh, hell no. No, screw you.
Yeah, and
And then,
I'm
like,
coming
went to
back to class tomorrow to hear you tell me that again. Yeah,
Excellent.
that's what the class would be, exactly.
Where will this film be, or is it streaming anywhere? Like on any streaming services?
Yeah, well, I didn't finish that. We're currently working on a way to purchase. You can purchase a DVD. I know DVDs are sort of passé, but
Nah, I prefer the physical copies of things.
you do you? Well, then
Yeah.
drop me an email and we'll see if we can get you one.
Hey, always up
Yeah.
for some free stuff.
If you go to the website, and this is for your rapidly growing viewing audience. If you go to the website showingupmovie.com,
All right.
there'll be information there about the film and who's in it and how to purchase a DVD. Also for educators, it'll tell you how to get it for your program, your acting program, or your it doesn't really just apply to actors. I mean, we all audition, right? You're auditioning for me right now.
Yeah. And the conversations earlier, you auditioned to
And
be in this interview.
I'm telling you, man, you're doing really well too. I just want you to know you're going to get the part, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of all this acting business, so I was doing some research and I saw that you started out your career as a circus clown in Alaska.
No, I grew up in Alaska, and I left Alaska when I was about 20, 21. Spent a year in New York, doing some training and a little bit of theater while I was there, and then I moved back to Salt Lake City, where I have family and spent the earliest part of my life. But I ended up joining the circus from Salt Lake City when I was about 21. We never made it to Texas, but we did tour the South, and I ended up leaving because of an injury to my soul, basically. It was a terrible, terrible experience. So it wasn't fun. And but I had to get it out of my system, and it prepared me actually in a perverse sort of way for my future as an actor in television and in Los Angeles.
Oh, yes, because
Because it was so. Yeah.
You seem to have mostly done dramatic parts over your career. So, is the reason for less comedic roles because of past trauma with this?
No, I love comedy. I love, I've done a lot of it on stage and haven't done a lot in television and film, a couple of sitcoms here and there, but I usually play the straight man. I usually play the priest or the boss or what else did I play? Oh, the boyfriend on Frasier, Frasier's ex-wife's boyfriend. I don't really know. I think I think I have a natural sort of intensity that people haven't discovered my lighter, more charming and witty side yet. But it's maybe I keep a lid on it, through my work. I mean, I don't. We end up getting typecast as you know. Whether we like it or not. So I think that's probably why.
Well, the straight man is a very important part to play in a comedic role. I end up being in that position a lot. Because my appearance tends to be like, yes, we have this block to work off of, and then we have this funny guy over here to work off of that.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, it is important.
It's not easy.
Yeah. Tis a thankless job.
It's a thankless job. That's right. I mean, for example, I play in one of the few Shakespeare comedies. In fact, I think I've only done one. Twelfth Night. I played Orsino, which is a thankless part, and completely the straight guy throughout. Everybody else is a clown, you know.
Yeah, well, now we're talking.
So that sort of sums it up right there.
And personally, I love doing Shakespeare. Like the more recent thing I had done was a production of The Tempest. I played Caliban, a monster.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and had two other actors playing the funny guys off of me. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Good for you, man. Great part.
Is there a stage role that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, you know, there was. Well, I wanted to do, and I still could do Petruchio in Taming of the Shrew. That would be fun. The other role that I always wanted to do and never got a chance to do was James Tyrone in Moon for the Misbegotten. I worked on that for a long time and in various staged readings and, you know, workshop productions and just studying it on my own. It's such a beautiful play, but I never got the chance to do it.
Personally, I've always wanted to play Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet.
There you go.
Yes,
That's
one of the best death scenes.
yeah, that's another one. That would be on my list too.
Dying well is the best publicity.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, do you prefer stage or screen acting?
I think I prefer being on stage with a live audience. Is there's just nothing like it. Yeah, I'd have to say that that's my.
I can definitely attest to the benefits of a live audience. Initially, when we started out this show, we had like a small live audience to work off of, but now
Oh wow.
we're having to use an extra screen and some Zoom calls with some other people in order to have like an audience, because it's good to have the reaction.
Oh, so you're going to be putting a laugh track over our interview?
No, we don't have it for the interview. Don't worry.
No. Okay.
No, actually, I'm like, okay, guys, laugh at him now.
You've got a little button there that you push. What? Well, we do. You know, actually, we do have a pretty good audience there.
Yeah. Well, the director laughs easily with these sorts of things.
Well, I appreciate it. What was I going to say about live? Oh, the thing about live performance that I appreciate most is that it's an actor's medium. I mean, we're in control of it from curtain up to curtain down. Nobody's going to cut your scene out of the thing, and nobody's going to, you know, you don't have to rely on anybody else for the edit of how it works, and it's yours, you know. As my friend Pat Hingold, character actor, told me, you know, with film and television, you just take the money and go home. But the stage is where we, you know, at a certain level, the working stiff actor just, you know, shows up and does their job and goes home. But on the stage, it's ours. I mean, we own that for the however long. We're all a captive to this ritual that takes place in the theater. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Plus, there's a lot more risk to it. Like if you mess up on screen, then you just say cut, roll it back, background actors, go, and rolling, and 3, 2, 1, action. But like with stage, if you mess up, you just gotta keep going and try and make it look natural.
That's right.
So, going over to the screen part of your career, you had a 4-season run on a popular TV series. What's the upside or downside of working on a series long term versus one-off appearances on different shows?
You know, there's really no upside to a one-off appearance on a show. Seriously, I mean, it's a paycheck when you need it, and it's a residual when you need it too. And you know, you meet some people in passing that are lovely, and but it's just sort of it exemplifies the freelance actor's experience, and it's not a pretty one, because usually you're invited to this dinner, you know, and then when you sit down at the table with the people, most of them look at you like, what are you doing here? And that's the sort of the experience. It's not always the case. Sometimes they're very warm and welcoming, but for the most part, you're just, you know, a hired hand. On the other hand, working on a show for a while, even as a recurring part, so you can come back over time, or, you know, but especially on 24, which is what you're referring to.
Yes.
That was a real joy, because you get to play the same person for years, and it's like a long run of a play, you know, new discoveries all the time, and deepening of your understanding of yourself in the circumstances, in the story. You know, it's a wonderful experience, and plus, you know, you're working with people that you become family with over time. I mean, I have friends for life from that experience that you don't really have when you walk in and you're there for 7 days, 8 days, and you walk away. I mean, you never see those people again. You know, they're just sort of ships passing in the night. You know.
Well, you know, at least on the short gigs, you get to keep your SAG insurance.
Yeah, it helps do. Yes. There is that about it. That's a good thing. Yes.
I was like, hey, are you working right now? Like, yes. I did a cameo on this. As what? As yourself? No, I played a minor character. I have a name. We'll be watching you.
That was a pretty good little scene you just did there. That was good. I like it.
Happens all the time in my house. It's improv. So, over the years, you've worked with a lot of high-profile actors, directors, all sorts of people. So, do you still occasionally get starstruck?
Oh yeah, all the time. In fact, right before I signed on to see you, I found out that Cloris Leachman has passed away.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh,
And
no.
I never worked with her, but she's the only person that my wife and I made it a point to track down, so we could stop her and say how much we love you, and you know, thank you for everything. So yeah, I mean, there are people who yeah, I mean, I'm no different than anybody else. I'm an audience, and I love, you know, people who are really good at what they do, and if I have a chance now to tell them, I do, because I know how much it means to you when somebody says, you know, you really affected me with your performance, or you know, what, thank you for the tunes that you gave us, or thank you for all those great performances. It meant a lot to me, and because it you know, it means a lot to people when you tell them that they're appreciated. So sure, I get starstruck.
Well, at least I can take this opportunity to say thank you for meeting with me, and thank you for doing all the art that you do.
Oh, that's nice, man. Thank you.
Yeah, trying to lighten the mood a little bit.
Appreciate it.
Got pretty deep there. Is there anyone in particular that stands out that you got to work with personally on any of the shows that you worked on?
Who I felt that way about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I mentioned my friend Pat Hingle. I know you'd know Pat if you Googled him and saw his face. He did, you know, hundreds of things that you've seen over the years. He passed away, oh gosh, 12 years ago now, I think. But he was like a father figure to me, and in fact, we did Cat on a Hot Tin Roof together twice, Big Daddy and Brick, and I got to know Pat really well. He was one of them because I grew up watching him, you know, in films and television. He's one of the guys that was in the Actors Studio from the 50s, like with Jimmy Dean and Paul Newman and that school, you know, back in the 50s. So that's a generation that really, really had an influence on me as an actor. But you know, I mean, I'm no different than anybody else. It depends. The important thing about what we're talking about, though, is that you have to, and this sort of speaks to an issue that I have as a human being, and I've always had this ever since my college theater production days, is with stage fright. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because if I'm not completely focused on the world that I'm inhabiting as the character, I let that other stuff get in my head, and it makes me nervous. Because I'm not talented enough to not be prepared, you know. So I really have to focus on the story and being in the story. If I let that other stuff get in my head, it throws me off my game. So if I when I get nervous or excited or starstruck about working with somebody, I have to really work to get through that, because I can't let it affect my and I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I think like I said, I just need to be really, really prepared and focused, so I don't let that stuff throw me.
I do know that experience. Like once you get into particularly for me, it was in stage productions where once you get to the actual show day, and like you're nervous because like, oh, what if I don't do this? What if I don't do this? And then once you actually have to get into character, then it all just sort of fades away if you're able to like get into the groove.
Yeah, and get into the groove, man. That's right.
Plus, then if there's any problems with the other actors or if anybody else, then like I'm not mad at them. I'm looking at their character right now, and then after continue the feud.
That's right.
Yeah, you gotta save your spite for the proper moment.
Save your what?
Save your spite.
Save your spite. Yes, that's good advice.
So, going back to the thing you brought up of like different generations of acting roles and entertainment in general, over the course of your career, in what ways would you say that the entertainment industry has gotten better, and in what ways it's gotten worse?
Well, you know, I don't know if I look at it better or worse. I just look at it as different. It's changed a lot in the 35. Let's see, how long have I been in SAG? 1984. You know, I chose to be an actor because I couldn't do math. So since then, though, since I joined SAG and became a you know, working in television, I think it's only gotten. I mean, you know, the changes have been because the medium have expanded. There are more medium. There's more. There are more venues now for the work. I mean, I'm watching Zoom theater now. You know, that's kind of bizarre, but and working in it too. I mean, in readings, and we've done little, you know, Zoom movies and stuff. I mean, we dream of doing this in the 80s or even the 90s. I mean, when I was a kid, we used to say, "Gosh, wouldn't it be great to live in the future when you can like talk on a video screen?" I mean, now, you know. So I don't know if it's for the worse or the better. It's just different.
I guess that's very.
And you have to adjust, you know. And if you don't, you adapt or die, right?
Yep. Improvise, adapt, overcome, simplify.
That's right. Or as they say in kindergarten, you get what you get and you don't get upset.
FYI, the director just told me that she was able to find the website and then pick up a copy of your film. So probably watch it tonight.
Well,
Oh, that's great. Great. Well, thank your director for me.
Well, he says thank you.
yeah, I heard him.
Appreciate it. Yeah, let me know what you think.
Certainly will.
Okay.
So bringing it all back, just to wrap it up real quick.
Sure.
There's a final question. Or were you gonna say something?
No.
So a final question that we're asking all the guests this season. If you had a magic wand or a monkey's paw or some other magical item that would allow you to change 2 things about the world, what would you change?
Oh my. Well, I think the first 2 things off the top of my head would be that that people that we find a way to help people understand the difference between facts and beliefs in terms of, in the context of science and that sort of thing. The other thing, I guess, I would 2 things I would change about the world. Okay, that's one.
That's why I made it 2, because it's easy to boil it down to 1, but then give you the second option.
So this is going to be like for the last half hour of your interview, where I'm trying to think of out of the dozens of things that I would change, I have to pick one more.
Or is there anything if nobody knew, is there anything selfish you'd wish for yourself for that second wish?
Now, I think the second thing would be that we eliminate pediatric cancers.
That's a good one. We haven't gotten anything like that yet.
Yeah, no, we've experienced it in our family. So in my house, the outcome was positive, but it was but with a lot of families, of course, it isn't, and also it. In keeping with that, I would say that we recognize that it's one of the things that causes, families, who knows how many, untold hundreds of thousands of families to go bankrupt because of the healthcare costs surrounding not only pediatric cancers, but all cancers really. And I think that that's kind of 3 things, though, isn't it? I would say pediatric cancers and healthcare for people with pre-existing conditions, because I think they go hand in hand. Okay. See, I told you I could do comedy.
And now that you've broken the director,
yeah, that's our last track. You be careful.
That's probably a good place to wrap it up. So, thank you, James Morrison, for joining us today. Everybody, we'll be right back.
Thanks, Xander.
Oh, hey! Thank you very much for watching. We'd like to thank James Morrison for coming on to the show for an interview. And I think Brett needs to stand corrected about the heat down here, as you can see. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, it is what it is. Now let's get the heck out of here. It's cold.